Well, welcome to the International Institute for Strategic Studies. My name's Dana Allen. I'm the editor of Survival and a senior fellow for U.S. Foreign Policy and Transatlantic Affairs here. I guess we're well now into the second decade since the Kosovo War resulted in the de facto separation of Kosovo from Serbia. It's been something like 5 years since Kosovo's declaration of independence led to widespread but not universal recognition of its statehood. And I guess something like 2 years since Belgrade and Pristina started expert-level talks under EU auspices. Obviously, the legacy of conflict is still very much a reality on the ground, and Kosovo's struggle for recognition very much intertwined with those ground-level difficulties. To discuss these difficulties and that struggle, we are very fortunate to welcome Kosovo Foreign Minister Enver Hoxha. Mr. Hoxha has been foreign minister since just before the talks started in spring 2011. He was previously Minister of Education and has had other diplomatic and political roles for the past decade. He has a PhD from the University of Pristina, where he was sorry, that's not correct, or is it?
Vienna.
University of Vienna.
But it doesn't matter.
But he was a professor of history at the University of Pristina. Foreign Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Allen. Thank you very much for inviting me. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, friends, Mr. Robertson, it is for us and for me a great pleasure as Kosovo to talk to you today. I used to be actually many years as academic in Vienna and in Pristina, and I used to be as a research fellow at London School of Economics for around 2 years. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that I'm not going to talk today as academic. I'm not going to provide you a long narrative of 50 minutes or 1 hour in order to explain the situation in my country, but I will provide you with a very short presentation, and what I'm mostly interested in is really to get answer from your side and then to have a proper discussion where Kosovo is and where the region is. It is for me a great pleasure that I'm here today, and it is for me a great pleasure that I'm talking to a very special group of the people, I mean policymakers, scholars, people who have been engaged in the region and in Europe for many years. I mean, friends of the Balkans and friends of Kosovo. And in that sense, I mean, I'm here mostly to reflect together with you in which direction Kosovo and the whole region is moving. I will talk today about three topics. The first topic which I would like to cover is consolidation of Kosovo statehood. I will try to inform you what we did in the last 5 years as an independent country. The second topic is I will tell you a little bit about key elements of Kosovo's foreign policy. I mean, what we did in the last 5 years in terms of promoting a very dynamic foreign policy of independent Kosovo. And third, and I think you have here more interest than on anything else, is the current dialogue with the Republic of Serbia, and what happened until now, what happened yesterday, and in which direction the whole process should move in the next days to come from our perspective. Regarding the first topic, regarding the consolidation of Kosovo statehood, let me inform you in a very general way what we did in the last 5 years. Today, it is the day of Constitution of Kosovo. And we are very proud that after 5 years of independence, we were not only able to adopt a modern constitution in our parliament, but also to implement that constitution mostly. The Constitution of Kosovo and the political system of Kosovo, it is based around three principles. The first one is democracy, the second one is multi-ethnicity, and the third one is secularism. I mean, we are very proud that we are a very secular state and society, and we have been, across history, a very secular society. Kosovo, it is a very young country, but in terms of stability, political stability, we were able, compared to many other countries in the region, to have the most stable political landscape. You are hearing very often from the region that governments are failing, prime ministers are resigning, presidents are resigning, and a lot of new countries are in a permanent trouble to seek and to have political stability. In the last 5 years, which was very crucial to us, we were able to keep the needed political stability to provide not only our citizens with a clarity and predictability, but the whole region. We did also a lot in terms of minority integration. In Kosovo, according to our constitution, there are not majority and minorities. I mean, Kosovo is built around the concept of communities. And in the last 5 years, we were able to integrate all communities living in Kosovo at the local level, at central level, and we're very proud that today Kosovo, it is a multi-ethnic, inclusive, cohesive society. Third, we are hearing very often those days about financial crisis, debt crisis. I'm very proud to tell you that we were able in the last 5 years also to keep the macroeconomic and fiscal stability. We don't have at all any significant debts. And in the last 5 years, we were able also to have economic growth. Before declaration of independence, the GDP of Kosovo was having a growth around 1% each year. In the last 3 years of independence, we had GDP growth, according to IMF, around 5%. That's meant independence has not only created stability, security, and predictability for the Balkans and for the citizens within Kosovo, but it has also improved the economic life of the people. People are living much better in an independent Kosovo than they used to live across the history. That's mean, to sum up, Kosovo is a success story, which where we were, I mean, a success story, not only of the people living there, but also a success story of the international community, because a lot of countries, including United Kingdom, who was supporting us here massively in the last 10 years, were supporting us actually to build a multi-ethnic, democratic Kosovo. If I'm saying in front of you that what we did was an achievement in the last 5 years, let me mention here a parallel to another country in the region. Last year, Kosovo ended the supervision. Since declaration of independence, we were put under the supervision of the international community, and the main task of that supervision was to see how much people of Kosovo and the institution of Kosovo are able to build a multi-ethnic democratic state. And last year we had a decision taken by the international community to end the supervision, which made Kosovo a more sovereign, independent state in compared to a situation where we were two years ago. This is actually an example that we were able, in compared to Bosnia, really to conclude a very important stage of our statehood. For the time being, there are not in Kosovo any kind of mission with a political mandate to supervise us. While in Bosnia, you have still, after 70 years of Dayton, still a high representative, which job is really to see how much institutions and how much the elites are there involved in building a multi-ethnic and democratic Bosnia. In the last 5 years, as I told you, we were mostly focused in building a new state from scratch. And the main goal which we have after the ending of supervision is really to have a focus mostly on the society building, which should be a long-term project. The second topic which I would cover shortly today is I would like to brief you on key elements of Kosovo's foreign policy in the last 5 years. And we had in the last 5 years in promoting a very active and dynamic foreign policy, 5 main priorities. The priority number 1 was getting international recognition of Kosovo, and we are very proud that the process, it had an unstoppable course. Kosovo has been recognized today by 98 countries, and the geography of recognition is a global one. And more countries are coming from different parts of the world in terms of taking the decision to recognize Kosovo formally. I will be this Friday in Guyana, in Western Hemisphere, where I'm going to sign diplomatic relations with Guyana, as their government took decision 2 weeks ago to recognize Kosovo. The second priority is promoting a strategic partnership with key partners of Kosovo, with United States, United Kingdom, and with other European member states. We have excellent relation with United Kingdom. We are very grateful to many people in United Kingdom for supporting Kosovo in the last 2 decades. I mean, not only politicians and diplomats, but also journalists, human rights activists have been very much engaged in building a modern Kosovo. And we are very interested to go beyond good political and diplomatic relations to have more economic cooperation and exchange in different areas, from education to culture and other areas. The third priority for us, it is strategic partnership with the European Union. And compared to many other countries in the region, Kosovo is a little bit behind in its European agenda because we are a very young country. I mean, we are the last independent state in the region. But in the last 2 years, we had some very important positive developments in terms of our European agenda in terms of our European agenda. We had last year a feasibility study which was done by the European Commission, and that study recommended that Kosovo should start as soon as possible a process of official negotiation in order to sign a stabilization association process. They were put some short-term criteria which we should reach in the area of rule of law, in the area of trade, in the area of minority rights, and public administration. I'm very proud to inform you today that we were able to meet those short-term criteria, and I think in the next months to come, we are hoping somewhere after June this year, we would be able to start official negotiation in order to sign a stabilization association agreement, which will be the frame how really to transform and build a European Kosovo within Kosovo. For us, Kosovo in terms of history, in terms of geography, in terms of culture, has been always a European country. But for us, signing a stabilization association agreement, it is actually having a frame how to modernize Kosovo. And modernization means how to have a society which is able to compete with other countries in the region and to compete with other nations in Europe. We have also another important priority, and that priority is getting Kosovo's membership in different regional and international organizations. We are very proud that we were able to get membership at the World Bank and the IMF. There were more than 100 countries who were voting in favor of Kosovo's membership as a sovereign nation to this very important institution. And last year, with the support of many friends, we got also membership at European Bank for Development and Reconstruction. And yesterday I had a first official meeting as a Minister for the Affairs of Kosovo with the President of ABRD, and we are hoping very soon to have some concrete projects which are very important for Kosovo's development. We are very much interested really to have projects not only who would create jobs within Kosovo, but projects who are linking more Kosovo's economy with the region. As long-term policy goals, we have three, and I would just mention this shortly. The first goal is our membership at the European Union, and we are hoping in the next 10 years with other countries in the region we would be able to make that. The only concern which we have is how Europe is going to look like in 10 years when Kosovo is entering this community, and we are thinking, we started already to think what's mean that to us. Secondly, active participation in regional and international fora. That means we are not only interested to get membership, but really to participate. I mean, to exercise our sovereignty on daily basis. And I have to tell you that I am traveling in compared to many other ministers of the region to different parts of the world within the same week. It happened to me within the same week to spend 4 or 5 nights in a flight from Western Hemisphere to Africa, Europe, Asia, and then again back to Europe. And the third long-term goal is promotion of Kosovo abroad. I mean, this is what we are trying to have as a, not only as a long-term, but even as a short-term goal. Let me come to the third topic, and I'll try to be really very brief because I would be very much interested to discuss with you in a more, I mean, having time for more discussion. Since last year, we started a dialogue with the Republic of Serbia in order to normalize the relation between the two independent countries. This dialogue is not about status, it's not about independence, it's not about sovereignty, it's not about territorial integrity, but it is a dialogue in order to find and develop a modus vivendi how an independent Kosovo could build a normal relation with Serbia. I'm not saying that we are trying at this stage to build a good neighborly relation. I'm saying that we are just trying to build a first normal relation as an independent country with Serbia. And this dialogue, in our view, it has 3 aims, or the 3 goals. First is normalization of the situation in the north of Kosovo, and I need to explain a little bit to you when I'm talking about the north, what the north means, what geography of the north is, and how the situation is there. Since June 1999, and then also since February 2000, 2008, when Kosovo declared independence, we had a situation in the three municipalities in the north of Kosovo, where Serbia, through its police and security structures, was trying to exercise any kind of control over that part of the territory. The main goal of Belgrade in the last 5 years was really to create a situation of a frozen conflict, and then to use that situation in order to promote the agenda of ethnic and territorial partition. But a frozen conflict is a frozen conflict. It cannot be something in the middle. And Belgrade simply failed in order to create that situation in the north of Kosovo. And now we are talking in Brussels in a process which is led by both Prime Minister Thatcher and Prime Minister Dacic, how to have a reintegration of the three municipalities in the north of Kosovo with the rest of Kosovo, and how Serbia to dismantle its illegal police and security structure in the north of Kosovo. Let me tell you shortly that in the last 5 years, Kosovo was able to integrate its Kosovo Serb community according to the best European standards and practices at local level and at central level. For example, within independent Kosovo, we were able to create 6 new municipalities where Kosovo Serbs are enjoying very wide competencies regarding self-governance. We had a 120-seat parliament, and in our parliament there are 26 representatives of different communities. 13 of them are from Kosovo Serbs. We have, for example, in our government a deputy prime minister. We have other 3 ministers from the Serb community. That's mean from the majority of the Kosovo Serbs who are living in Kosovo. We were able to integrate all of them in our institutional and public life. But we have around 20-30% of them who are living in the 3 municipalities, who, not because of them, but because of the fact that they were kept hostage from police and security structures of Serbia, we couldn't have a proper integration of them in our institutional life. And the dialogue was trying to find ways and to develop frames and solution how to reintegrate these 3 municipalities with the rest of Kosovo. The second goal of the dialogue is addressing all open, outstanding issues between Kosovo and Serbia as independent countries. And the third goal is advancing Kosovo's, but also Serbia's agenda to the European Union. European Union is not interested really to get new members who are bringing with themselves within the European Union unsolved issues. In that sense, I mean, the approach of the European Union was very clear that Serbia should first normalize the relation with Kosovo, and then they can count if Serbia would be able to get this year accession date regarding accession date to European Union. In the last months, but in the last 2 years, we had also another track of the dialogue, which we called a technical dialogue. And although the dialogue was a technical one, we reached some agreements that were very important in terms of agreements who had actually very huge and important political consequences. Let me mention to you some examples. We reached agreement on freedom of movement of people, and Serbia accepted the Kosovo ID cards, driving licenses, card plates, and today people are moving freely from Kosovo to Serbia or from Serbia to Kosovo. We reached also agreement on freedom of trade, and based on that we were able to export our goods to Serbia and also from Serbia or through Serbia to the European market. We reached also agreement on integrated border agreement, I mean, based on a European model, how to manage the. This is nothing else, just an interstate border agreement, and based on that agreement, Serbia de facto and the Euro accepted and recognized the border to Kosovo. We reached also agreement on customs, and based on that, Serbia recognized Kosovo's customs. And we reached also agreement to open 2 liaison offices in both capitals. And I decided to nominate one of my ambassadors, the ambassador which is coming for the time being Stockholm, to move from Stockholm to Belgrade in order to be the head of the liaison office, which is going to be a liaison office of the Republic of Kosovo in Belgrade, and a channel of communication between Kosovo's government and Serbia's government. What I'm trying to explain to you is that in the last 2 years, in the last 6 months, in both levels of dialogue, in a technical dialogue and in a high-level political dialogue, Serbia moved in a direction of accepting Kosovo de facto as a state, accepting the reality of independent Kosovo, treating Kosovo as a neighbor. And even within Serbia, we had a very interesting narrative where politicians repeated on daily basis that Serbia lost Kosovo, and that Kosovo was never part of Serbia, and that it was always a lie to the Serb public opinion that pretending that Kosovo was part of Serbia. That means we have actually a kind of change of rhetoric within the Serb public life, which was very, very crucial. In the last 6 months, we had 8 rounds of the meeting, and last week we had a very long round of dialogue with our colleagues in Belgrade in order to reach a final agreement on normalization relation between the 2 countries. And it was supposed, based on our proposal, which was prepared by Lady Ashton as a facilitator of this dialogue, to have yesterday a positive response. And we were very surprised that yesterday Belgrade officially informed not only its citizens but all institutions in Brussels and European member states that after 6 months they would not accept the proposal which is on the table in order to have a frame for normalization relation between the two countries. I'm seeing here a lot of friends who have been engaged in the Balkans for 2 decades. I mean, my first reaction yesterday was pretty the same like we had in Rambouillet in 1999, or that we had in Vienna in 2007. After 2 years of negotiation, Serbia said no to the Ahtisaari proposal, and we were negatively surprised that they reacted in the same way yesterday to an agreement which at the end of the day is a huge compromise, a painful compromise for Pristina, an agreement which was pretty well known to them because we talked for 6 months on that agreement. I think the agreement which we have in our hands, it is still the best opportunity. It is still the last chance, really, to build a normal relation between the 2 countries. And I think Serbia should really give up the idea of creation of a Republika Srpska within Kosovo. You know, the main reason why Bosnia is today in its shape, I don't like to give any moral judgment about that situation, but the main reason why Bosnia is today in a very bad shape is because of the role which and competences and rights which Republika Srpska has within independent Bosnia. And I was yesterday twice shocked, not only because Belgrade rejected the agreement, but because Prime Minister Dačić, in an interview for Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, promoted again the idea of territorial partition of Kosovo, which I don't think that would support stability, security within Kosovo and within the region. We still are hoping that Kosovo and Serbia will be able to reach agreement in terms of normalizing the relation at the political level. But we are not only interested to build normal relation at the political level. We are very much interested really to start a process of bilateral reconciliation between the two countries. As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'm simply traveling at different parts of the world. And I was very much impressed when I was last year in Timor-Leste, in East Timor. And when I saw that Timor-Leste in Asia and Indonesia, who were in a conflict and war for 24 years, were able, after a long conflict, not only to have good neighborly relations, but they were able even to conclude a bilateral process of reconciliation. Both countries are living today in peace, and they were able to face in a proper way the past. I mean, if nations in Asia are able to do that, why Serbia and Kosovo, who are in the middle of Europe, shouldn't be able to do that? I will stop here. I told you that I'm not going to talk as long as possible as a former university professor, but it seems that I'm not able to avoid that. Dr. Allen, thank you very much again for inviting me, and of course I'm at your disposal for questions.
Minister, thank you very much. That was a very wide-ranging and I think very lucid discussion of the current problems. Let me start with maybe pushing you a little bit farther on this, on I think what I guess appears to be the core difficulty which you came to at the end. Now, of course, the architects of the Dayton Peace Agreement wouldn't necessarily have agreed that the vision for Republika Srpska in Bosnia was a blueprint for partition. And this is without, for an instant, quarreling with your assessment of how things have turned out. But what is your vision, or what is the Pristina vision of self-governance, I think is the word you used, for the Serb communities that are integrated in your terms in Kosovo? What would be the vision for these northern areas?
I was between 2005 to 2007 part of the Vienna talks, and with many other friends we were very much engaged in a process how really to find the best solution for the Serb communities in terms of rights and competences and privileges in a post-independent Kosovo. And in that time, as a member of the Kosovo delegation, we were studying different kind of self-governance within the European Union. And I spent days and days studying the European Charter on Self-Governance. I'm able to tell you today that in compared to many other municipalities in Europe and different models of devolution and decentralization, Kosovo Serbs are enjoying rights which a lot of communities cannot join within the European Union. There are 5 European member states who did not recognize Kosovo. from 28. And one of the reasons why they didn't do is, and sometimes they are saying this to me because of the package which Ahtisaari plan is giving to the Kosovo Serbs. And they're actually they have been very much concerned if this package of rights might have any kind of consequences within their independent countries and shaping their territorial integrity. Let me give you some examples. In the city of Mitrovica, in the northern part of Mitrovica, where we should establish a separate municipality, there is a university. And according to Martti Ahtisaari plan, the municipality of North Mitrovica, it has competences over the university. You don't have a case in Europe that on tertiary education, a municipality would be able to be in charge for university affairs. I don't know if there is any case in United Kingdom, but across Europe, you would simply offend a university professor or a principal or a director or a rector by asking him in position as a mayor, would you be interested to be involved in that position in a university? Or in the north municipality of Mitrovica, and then in two other mostly composed Serb municipalities, there are some clinics, and those municipalities are having rights also to be in charge for secondary health, and actually a competence which is just for central governments. Municipalities from the Serb communities who are within Kosovo, they have also the right to collect taxes, which according, to collect taxes for local affairs, which according to Martti Ahtisaari plan, it is a competence which cannot be compared to other municipalities in Europe. That's mean we would be able to offer to the Kosovo Serbs in the north the same which we offered to Kosovo Serbs across Kosovo. We cannot create a separate legal position for minority of the Serbs who are living in Kosovo and dividing the Serb community there. The discussion which we have for the time being, and I think this is actually the line which could be not accepted by us, is that we were interested to create an association of municipalities which, according to the European Charter of the Self-Governments, should have the same role as in other European states. And our colleagues in Belgrade wanted that this association should have some executive powers, meaning that that association should be able to nominate police commander, and creating a kind of third layer of the governance there. That association should be in charge to create, to nominate prosecutors and judges. And I think these were the differences which we could not accept in this dialogue. But self-governance in Kosovo at local level means very wide rights and competencies, extended rights and competencies, which are not usual for a community and which are not usual for our municipalities within the European Union. I'm facing on a daily basis questions about different models which have been used in Europe in terms of addressing integration issues, accommodation issues for minorities. And I'm saying to them that what Ahtisaari plan is offering is more than different models within the European Union.
Okay, thank you very much. We have about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and the floor is open. Questions? Yes. Please identify yourself as.
My name is Blav Sedra. I'm a PhD candidate at the School of Mines and Mathematics Studies. I'd like to take the kind of question back to your 5 priorities on strategic partnerships and ask you what role you see Turkey playing in consolidating Kosovo's independence, since my own research is focused on Turkey and their being as a new EU.
Okay. Maybe some other questions?
I don't see any more right now, so maybe if you want to address that, then others will arise.
We have actually a very good relation with Turkey, and we have also a daily communication. I mean, we have a daily communication with not only with the Turkish ambassador to Pristina, but a very often communication with Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, Mr. Davutoglu, and with other colleagues and friends in Ankara. I think Turkey is supporting Kosovo in terms of recognition agenda, but they're also supporting us in terms of economic development, and we have actually excellent relation with Turkey.
Yes.
Foreign Minister, thanks very much for a very comprehensive speech.
Could you identify yourself?
Grazio International Business and Diplomatic
Thank you.
Exchange. We run a new ordnance program in London. You've touched on a very interesting point, one of them development, and Kosovo perhaps being one of the few countries in the region which is indicating positive growth at a time where most of the countries in Europe are facing serious challenges in terms of economic growth. Also, you discussed in detail the current dialogue, which is being taking place between Kosovo and Serbia, and the key priority, which is the promotion of Kosovo as an independent country and seeking recognition from countries which have not yet recognized Kosovo. Recently, I've noted you travelled to Greece, which I thought was the first time that you had the opportunity to be invited in a formal capacity. How do you think that this stagnation of the dialogue, which is occurring today, is going to impact the opinion, both public but also the state, within the 5 countries in the European Union towards the move in recognition of Kosovo?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the question. Stagnation of the dialogue is first going to have a very bad impact in the north of Kosovo. We are actually very worried if the situation in terms of security there might be worsened in the next days and weeks to come. Secondly, is going to have a very bad impact on Kosovo-Serbia's relations. I mean, in the last 6 months, we had really improvement of climate of communication, maybe not any big change, but both Prime Minister met 8 times, and it was created a good environment for future cooperation. We were very much interested, really, not only to have a process of dialogue in terms of reaching agreements, but also implementing agreements. And the main focus which we have for the time being is not to have agreement on the paper, but how to implement that, how to change the situation in the ground. Because agreements who are remaining on the paper are worthless. And we are very much focused on that part of implementation. But I fully agree with you. This is going to have bad impact on Kosovo's relation with some non-recognizers who are member states of the European Union. I had a very good visit in in Greece, and I had a great meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Greece, and I was very much impressed with his vision regarding the Balkans, and we are trying to build a new relation between the two countries. If we are reaching a final agreement for normalization relation between the two countries, I think some countries who did not recognize Kosovo would use this as an excuse to do that, although they don't have any kind of other political or legal reasons. I mean, we had in July 2010 the opinion of the World Court, the opinion of the International Court of Justice, who confirmed Kosovo's legality as an independent country. But reaching agreement might be a good invitation for Greece and some other countries to recognize Kosovo. But stagnation means also in case of Serbia. And frankly speaking, the decision which was taken yesterday not to accept a compromise which was proposed by Baroness Ashton was, in my view, an anti-European decision of Serbia against its own European future, delaying things. What happened in the last years in the Balkans is, in the last 2 decades in the Balkans, is that we lost simply time, and we don't need again to have delays, to postpone things, but it is very necessary as soon as possible for Belgrade to accept that agreement and to move ahead. With Greece and with Slovakia and with another member of the European Union who did not recognize Kosovo, I could say that we have a kind of good institutional cooperation on a daily basis. I mean, Kosovo is in the Balkans, Greece in the Balkans, and we are, for us, Greece is not only a very important Balkan state, but it is also a very important European member states in the Balkans, and their attitude to Kosovo means a lot. I think in Greece, politicians are more open than the public opinion. The public opinion is a little bit rigid, and there are a lot of misperception about Kosovo who are not at all referring to the reality.
Yes, right there.
I'm a visiting researcher at the Group for Legal and Political Science in Pristina. I'm a student at the Case College in London and also national of Slovakia, so thank you very much for the issues you just raised, because that's where my question will go exactly. I would like to ask whether you have any specific strategy in terms of public diplomacy when it comes to the fight of recognizing countries, because I can say with all fairness to my professionals that the general public opinion of Kosovo in Slovakia is more than dramatic. And
Sorry, say that again. Is more than dramatic. Is
very
negative. Yeah. Okay.
And I have had the opportunity to actually hear some opinions from Slovak officials, some of them even involved and related to Pristina family, who voiced a concern that even if our political leadership was willing to go forward with the recognition, the public opinion might be a bit hurt for that.
Thank you very much for the question. If we have a special strategy, I mean, how to approach Slovakia and some other countries, if we are using public diplomacy, yes, I mean, and with us it is here today the British ambassador to Kosovo, Ian Cliff, and we have as a Ministry of Foreign Affairs a great project with British Embassy, British Consul, and we were using exactly the public diplomacy. A lot of former friends of mine from civil society, academia, journalists, even some of them who are not very much happy what I'm doing as a foreign minister and on daily basis are criticizing me what I'm not doing more, have been engaged in supporting us how to change the attitude of the public opinion in Slovakia. I was in Slovakia in November last year, and I had a great visit. I think you have one of the best foreign ministers in Europe. He's doing really a great job. I'm texting with him on a daily basis. I mean, today how Minister of Foreign Affairs are working together is more simple than some people are thinking. I mean, it's not a lot of sending verbal notes or memos or asking for phone calls, texting on a daily basis. I mean, with a lot of countries who did not recognize Kosovo, maybe even very often with foreign ministers who would sit in the same seat here after some weeks and who could reflect that they don't have any kind of good relation with Kosovo or they have any kind of problems with Kosovo's independence. I'm texting to them on a daily basis. I mean, the life is more flexible than we are thinking. In case of Slovakia, I think we did a lot. I mean, there were members of the parliament. I think some weeks ago, 5 or 6 weeks ago, a large group of the people there. We invited journalists, we invited academics from Slovakia to Pristina. I think there are still some misperception, but we are working in order to overcome this misperception. And our president, Madam Yayaga, will be in a summit soon in Slovakia together with other presidents. Let me know, though Slovakia has not recognized Kosovo. Your president has invited her, which is actually a very good step. That means we are trying to move from very good institutional cooperation in a direction of getting a formal official decision by Slovakia to recognize Kosovo. I mean, we are in the middle of Europe, and Slovakia had always a huge interest in the Balkans, and it's very important to get their support, not only in terms of bilateral relations and diplomatic relations, but also in terms of European agenda. And we would like to invite next year some students to come and to study into universities which we have there. We have a very good American university which is having an American accreditation, and a European university which is offering courses and degrees based on European accreditation. We would like to see more, diplomatic relations are very important, but what is mostly important today is a strong relation between the two nations beyond government relations, and this is what we are promoting on daily basis.
I have one more question if nobody else wants the floor. You had an interesting choice of words talking about the framework of your partnership with the European Union and accession hopes, which is that you're also curious. I'm curious about what Europe will look like when that time comes. And I'm just curious if, I think a widespread view is the settlement of some of these difficulties, particularly between Pristina and Belgrade, will come in the process of a fairly long-term process of European integration. And that's one of the best sources of leverage on both sides. In thinking about this as a strategy, if that's how you think about it, does Europe's current crisis, the European Union's current crisis, and specifically the Euro crisis, affect your strategic thinking? I mean, the answer may be no, it may be too divorced, but it's kind of a rather speculative question to which I'd be very interested in the answer. What does it look like from the outside as someone interested in coming in?
For a young, small, independent Kosovo, European Union is the perfect community.
Right.
That means we don't have another alternative. And I don't think that somebody else would be able, whatever is going to happen with Europe, promote something else. I mean, we are a very old European nation, and it's a long, I mean, there are a lot of evidence which could convince you why Kosovo is an old European nation. For example, in Kosovo until 18th century, the literature was published in 2 languages, in Latin and in Albanian, like you had across Europe. I mean, this is actually evidence that in terms of culture, we have been always a European nation, and those who were writing in Latin and in local languages in Albanian were actually Albanian Roman Catholic priests. That's meant we belonged always to Europe, and the only goal which we have today is how to get membership in terms of political and institutional integration. But we are thinking, and we're spending a lot of time, what is going on in Europe. I mean, how Europe will be shaped by the financial and debt crisis, which kind of the Europe we might have in 10 years, and which kind of the relation we'll have independent Kosovo to that part of Europe. And I mean, for me, it is one of the best continents where I would like forever to live. What I'm very much concerned, and I'm reflecting with you as a former academic, not as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, is that when I'm in Asia, when I'm visiting different parts of the world, the difference between Europe and those parts of the world, and mostly Asia, I mean, Asia is changing in a very dramatic way, is a kind of culture of hope which elites are promoting there. And when I'm coming back to Europe, I see a lot of elements of a culture of fear. I mean, finances are important in a life of a citizen, or in a life of family, or in a life of a nation, but they are not everything. That's mean what we need more in Europe is really promoting a culture of hope. I mean, going beyond the daily fears and looking long term. It happened to me last year that I was flying from Bangkok to Munich in order to take part in a panel in Austria, in Forum Alba. And I used to live for 7 years in Austria. And I was simply shocked when I had around 500 Europeans in Alba who are living much better than everybody else in Asia. And everybody was putting questions about debt crisis, financial crisis. A kind of environment of fear was so strong, a feeling which didn't I get in Bangkok 2 days before, where I met journalists, I met politicians, I met academics, different parts of a society who were reflecting in a more positive way, who were having hope as the only orientation to the future. I think this is what Europe needs. I'm saying this because Kosovo achieved where it is today because we always promoted a strong culture of hope. Even in bad times of oppression of Milosevic regime, we had a strong hope that the future will be much better, and I think we achieved that.
Well, Foreign Minister, you've given us, I think, a very practical and also frank exposition here, and has also ended on a rather interesting philosophical note. So for all of that, I hope everybody will join me in thanking you.